Okay, guys, welcome back to the BJJ101 STOREROOM podcast. This is episode 24. All right, so episode 24, we have an awesome guest in Bruce Mole.
Thanks, mate.
And thanks so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure to talk to all the amazing people that we find through jiu-jitsu. And we always try to start with a fairly generic question, with everybody. We kind of just ask you, because we know who you are, we know a bit about you, and, we're just trying to get people to talk about themselves and learn about different people. And then also, so talk a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, life and that type of thing, and then also where you were introduced to kind of martial arts and sports and things like that. Yeah.
Well, I'm not from Brisbane. You guys probably know that.
Yeah.
I grew up on a cattle station, Western Queensland.
Yeah.
So it's about 16 hours drive away from here.
Okay.
So martial arts, for me, when I was growing up, is just non-existent.
Yeah.
We might have seen a Bruce Lee movie, and I knew about karate, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, but jiu-jitsu, I guess, the thing about jiu-jitsu, I didn't know anything about it until about 10 years ago or a bit longer, when I started watching a little bit of UFC.
Yeah.
And I was at a party. I might have been a little bit drunk, and I had a wrestle with someone that was training here.
Yeah.
And which you do, and I do, because I do a lot of that.
Rambunctious dude.
Yes. And he was a lot smaller than me. And I remember him having, being able to kind of move really well and kind of really make my wrestle really difficult. So after we did that, I said, mate, you're pretty good at this.
What are you doing? Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
He goes, oh, mate, I train with this guy called Eduardo at Gara. You should come along. And the Monday night, that was on Saturday, Monday night I was here. I was here next down the road.
He made you look that bad, Bruce.
Oh, mate. I think I still did all right, but he was 70 kilos, and I'm 95.
Yeah, it's a big shock. A lot of the people we've talked with have that kind of experience. Either they were exposed to it like that, or they came in to the gym and some chick bashed them or something like that, and they're like, what the hell is this? I can't believe it. I need to do this. And they get addicted to it. Yeah. Let's just go back a little bit. So what was it like growing up? So where did you actually
go?
So
I grew up in a cattle station. So my mum taught me, and I had governesses.
Okay.
So I did school there. So I did that from grade 1 to grade 7.
Yeah.
We used to start probably school at 7 a.m. in the morning and finish by 1:30.
Yeah.
So in the afternoon, I can go out, ride motorbikes, shoot pigs, or whatever, trap dingoes. My life is pretty different from anything you guys can imagine.
Yeah.
So I was driving I was going out, borrowing the Toyota, driving out camping with my brother at age 6, and we'd drive maybe 30 Ks and just camp next to a river and do some fishing and, do some shooting or whatever. I'm 6 years old.
Right. So
life is a lot different. Obviously, I'm a lot older than you, but life was a fair bit different. So as soon as I got to, grade 7, mum and dad said, listen, you're going to boarding school.
Yeah.
And just kind of went on the bus your grandmother will pick you up and take you to school and drop you off, and you'll be there. And I saw my parents probably 4 times a year after that until grade 12. And then I played a lot of sport at school.
Yeah.
I think I had a brother that's pretty similar age and pretty similar size to me.
Did you go to school close to Brisbane, or was it still closer to the cattle station? Okay.
I boarded here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so...
Where'd you go?
Brisbane Grammar School.
Okay, BJS.
Yeah. So I boarded there, which was awesome, but it was kind of fairly restricting, because you grow up on a property which is your closest neighbour.
Do whatever you want. Yeah.
Your closest neighbour is 25 k's away. I can do whatever I want, and just it was a great way to grow up. I used to do stuff that today I think, well, that's pretty different. I'd like my kids. Kids.
Oh, I think it's the best way, the freedom and the learning lessons that you can contact with nature, and live animals.
You become a person a really nice person, I think, because you don't have all this friction and ego associated with growing up apart from with your siblings.
Yeah.
But
you become more confident as well, automatically, I think.
I think you're just a more balanced individual. It's like you're not being exposed to all this animosity and friction and people on top of each other and the hustle and bustle of things.
Yeah.
It's a much more simple lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I want to do something interesting. So you go and do it. And you're with the people that you love and care about all the time. Like, I don't have the same experience, but I grew up on farm stuff like a lot when I was a kid as well. So in Adelaide, yeah. So my grandparents had like a large, like, you know, I know 200-acre property, and they had neighbors, you know, 200, you know, like they were fairly like next door and stuff. But it's the same type of thing. Like, you have 200 acres, and we would go and stay there when our mum was working or school holidays or whatever, and you'd spend, you know, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 weeks here and there, and just doing whatever you wanted. You go in the shed, you angle grind something, and you make a sword, or you make bow and arrows out of wood or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like what you do. And
cool stuff.
Yeah, you do creative, cool stuff, and that's like you learn about yourself as a human being by exploring and figuring things out, and you're given like a place to do that where it's not super dangerous. Like, you have guns and, oh my God, these are dangerous instruments. Yeah, they are.
And it's the way you've been brought up.
Yeah, correct. And you get taught how to use it, and you get taught how to look after your siblings and yourself. And you know, when you carry the gun, you've got to point it up to the sky or at the floor. Don't carry it around like this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's interesting.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree totally. So that was a great way to grow up, and I missed it for a very long time.
Going into boarding school was pretty difficult, or?
Yeah, because I got down here and I just got pushed off the boarding school. I'd never even been in a classroom before.
Yeah.
So when I went to school, I was a long way behind.
Yeah.
Like, pretty dumb. Not necessarily dumb, but a long way behind everyone else.
Yeah.
There was like 276 students in my year, and I think I was 270.
Yeah.
Ranked.
Yeah.
They ranked at the first year. So I needed a fair bit of help, but I just really was dedicated and really wanted to do better.
Yeah.
You know, there's an opportunity. Dad said, you know, this is costing us a lot of money. We can't afford it, but we're going to give you the opportunity, which I really appreciate. He's obviously dead for 20 years now, but he understood that education can get you to places where you know, other people won't have that opportunity. So that was a struggle. By year 10, I loved it. You know, I was playing a lot of tennis, rugby, all that kind of stuff. So
now, boarding school, like I had a kind of similar experience. There's a lot of things that you don't really enjoy about it, and like just you're there the whole day. You don't ever leave school. You're at school for 24 hours a day.
It's your home. Like, it's different from a day
going
person.
there and going home. Yeah,
a day person coming here and going home.
Yeah. It breaks up the day, and it's different for sure. But you live there. This is all your existence. This is school. But like in the positive aspect, you create certain friendships and bonds, and the camaraderie you have of living with, you know, maybe 50 to 100 dudes at one time. You know what I mean, of all different ages. So it's pretty interesting kind of lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah.
I think also give you guys a little bit of more awareness how to deal with different people as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're so close to different cultures, different upbringings, you know, different family lifestyles that are completely different, you know, like you come from a cattle station and you're going to have someone else that come from other backgrounds. So this is really awesome.
Don't get me wrong, there's lots of fights.
Yeah. Of course, man, it's boys. You know what I mean?
But you learn to deal with that. You know, there's
conflict. You learn conflict resolution. You're forced to.
Yes.
A lot of people that are kind of like isolated or like saying go home and do all this stuff, like they don't have to deal with that. It's just their mom or their dad, they tell them off, oh, okay, whatever, when go home, whatever. And then a lot of them, you know, they're the ones dictating what's happening with their parents. Oh, no, I wouldn't do this, whatever. Like, man, you can't do that with somebody the same age as you. They don't care. Yeah. They're not your mom, they're not your brother, they're not your sister. They don't have the same love and care. You got to get along with them somehow. You got to figure out how to, you know what I mean?
So because that's a really important period in your life.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Between 12 and 17 or 18 or whatever, I effectively got brought up by people around me, the kids around me that brought me up, not mum and dad, because I only saw them 4 times a year. Yeah. So
and yourself, let's say, because you have to mature to get some things done, right?
Well, you can only all your mates are soundboards. You don't know how to react unless they tell you. You know, you really appreciate what they tell you to do. Like if you're doing something dumb and they say you're doing something dumb, you go, oh shit, okay. Well,
or you might not on the first time, but if 4 people say it, you go, oh, maybe I'm doing something dumb. Yeah, exactly. It's a mirror for you.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is a conversation that I have with some people sometimes. It's like, you can't live by yourself. You can't isolate yourself because you can't improve. There's no capacity to change anything. The only way for you to notice what you have to improve is being around other people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, that your friends are a soundboard that you bounce off. Yeah. Whatever you're putting out bounces off back to you, and you go, holy shit, wait a second, maybe this is wrong, maybe this is right. And some people are going to say, oh, you're doing the wrong thing, you're doing the wrong thing. And then other 4 people are going to say, no, it's all good, it's all right, what you're doing is okay. And then you start to figure it out and learn and recognize. And it's an interesting experience, especially at such a young age. You're starting to kind of figure out these ideas, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think it's a super valuable experience, man. Like, there's always positives and negatives about anything, but yeah, I think there's a lot of benefit to the boarding thing and being independent and pushing them out. And that
I would push my kids to boarding if I could afford it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Bruce, help with my memory here. Do you have that idea of how long ago have you started training jiu-jitsu? Roughly?
About 9 years ago.
About 9 years.
Okay.
I remember before Anton was here. Bill Sykes is the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is he still training?
I knew who you were when you started talking.
Is he still training?
Yeah, he's a black belt in Noosa.
He moved to Noosa.
Yeah. Really great guy.
He's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Very, very nice guy.
Smaller.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So,
better go have a roll with him one day, man.
He did. He actually, I remember you telling me that you went there and trained in Noosa, right?
Yeah.
I remember you. This is years ago.
The Japanese dude.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, like you're now brown belt, you've been 9 years jiu-jitsu, like what are the biggest struggles that you have? Like you're a fairly competitive person. I can feel that on you, right?
The biggest struggles I have with jiu-jitsu?
Correct.
I think the biggest struggle most people have with jiu-jitsu, if they're bigger and stronger, is getting rid of that ego associated with winning. Testosterone runs through young guys' veins all the time. They always want to win. But I think that really inhibits people's ability to learn what jiu-jitsu is about, because you always go to the well on how I can submit people and how I can pass people and how I can win. So I think that's probably the biggest issues I've encountered. I'm still learning. I'm still practicing. And I'm a student and still trying to get better at it. But having an ego it is a good thing if you're competing and all that stuff. But if you just want to get better at jiu-jitsu, it's really kind of holds you back a bit. That's what I think.
I think you can't fully remove your ego. Like, everyone has this a version or view of themselves. It's just like keeping it restrained or keeping it in check, which is difficult. And the thing is like, it's super difficult to be like, I don't care. Everybody cares about winning and losing, man. It doesn't matter. Like, we're all competing in life, let alone in jiu-jitsu. Like, we're all competing for partners, we're all competing for business, we're all competing for money, we're all competing. Every day you're competing against other people in society. This is a normal way of life. You're competing every day. Animals compete for food, animals compete for position, animals compete for territory. You're competing all the time. But what you have to do is recognize where your opinion of yourself or your ego actually negatively impacts your ability to improve. And that's a hard balance to figure out. And it takes a lot of time, man.
Yeah.
It's not easy to navigate, because again, we all want to win. We all want to be the best and the biggest and the strongest and the king of the ring, the King Kong and the champion of the jungle and all that. It's normal. It's nature. It's biologically instilled in you for you to survive, for your genetics to be passed on to the next generation, because that's what you need to do. But
I think there's a training to be done, which is the response to, let's say, the worst thing that can happen, right? You got submitted, okay?
Yeah.
So yesterday I was training Phantom. He was looking after me. And then anyway, he done one position, he done it all the time. Boom, got me in both legs, got me in a knee lock. I straight away, what's the best move for me, like, to escape, you know what I mean? Like you can't just go, what can I do better here? You know what I mean? So use that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. I still think smaller guys, I think they're more inclined to learn quicker.
But they can't rely on physical attributes. That's
what I mean.
That's the thing. Like, but this is a thing. Like, I talked about on the podcast with Kerrod. We talked with Kerrod, one of the white belts here that's been training for like a year and a half, whatever. And it doesn't matter what your physical attribute, you will rely on it to some extent. Guys that are really flexible rely on flexibility. Guys that are really fit and fast rely on being fit and fast. Guys that are big and strong and powerful rely on that. It's not wrong to rely on that. It's not wrong. It's a natural default to use the strength that you have. Just like a girl will use their femininity and their beauty to get what they want.
Yeah.
Just like a guy will use their aggression and their masculinity to do the things that they need to do. It's normal, it's natural. But the problem is understanding where relying on that thing doesn't actually help you improve the skill.
Yes.
And that's the problem. You cannot overcome a lack of knowledge, all right, or a lack of understanding through physical attribute. It doesn't work. Or it only lasts for a period of time. It'll last for 3 minutes. And after 3 minutes, your attribute's gone.
I think when you get older also, and you've been doing it for longer periods of time, you actually you get more satisfaction out of doing different things.
Yep,
yes,
for sure. Exploring and finding new ways to do stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't get a big kick out of submitting anyone anymore. I just get a kick out. You used to get a big kick out of submitting someone that's higher belt than you.
Yeah.
That's an ego thing.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
But now I really, a pass or a sweep. Sweeps are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think, and doing some kind of move that you've been looking at on for a while and going, oh fuck, I've done that.
For me, it's exactly the same nowadays. That's where I get the thrill.
I think what happens is as you get like more experience with the thing, your goals start to change, like you're saying. So instead of your goal being like to beat and win and do all this stuff, you're starting to change as a human being too, and the way you think about things and the way you understand and the way you recognize it. And then you go like, you know what? I don't have to fight to the death with this guy. I don't need to smash this person and beat them and submit them 20 times in one train, because you know what? That's not even a goal for myself. That's a goal against another human being. How about I set a goal for myself? All right, I want to do this sweep as many times as I can this row. I want to do this submission as many times as I can in this month. I want to do blah, blah. And even though there is another person involved, the goal's not based on the other person. And this is something that it's not a big change in what's happening, like in action, but it's a big change of mindset. You're not doing things competitively fighting against another human being in your mind. You're just trying to attempt the thing that you're trying to attempt. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't work, you look at it, adjust it, and you do it again. And it really changes how you can kind of navigate it, and it doesn't become so demoralizing when it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Do you think that's also associated with people that if you come more often, if you only come twice a week to jiu-jitsu, I think it's harder to break that cycle.
100%.
Very true.
If you're here every day...
Habit is everything, 100%. Yeah.
But not only that, if you're here every day, you're going to be here tired, you're going to be here hangover. If you drink, you're going to be here not in your best day. Yeah. And that will make you go, you take your pride away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you take your pride away.
You just can't rely on that attribute that you normally rely on. Like, you know what I mean? You might be a really fit, strong CrossFit guy or bodybuilder or whatever, but you do 3 days of jiu-jitsu in a row. You're not going to feel good. You're going to be tired. You're going to be exhausted. Yeah. And man, like, even for me, there's times that I will come to training after a heavy weight session. That's a completely different scenario. Like what I could have done with somebody in the morning, then I do a weight session in the afternoon, I can't do anymore.
We don't feel that difference.
You guys might not feel the difference, but it's a difference for me, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's a difference for me.
Using fake weights too.
Yeah, it's all balloons. There's just air in there. For sure, man. But like, it's just for looks. Like, man, this is never going to be easy. And like you guys are saying, like, the longer you're doing it, the more you're there, the more consistently you're exposing yourself to this, the more likely you're able to change that kind of block in your mind, for sure.
I wish I'd started earlier. I didn't know about it. No. So no one really knew about it. I remember because I played a lot of rugby. And then the reason I've been looking for something like this, which is not in contact, because, I was on piss.
Yeah.
As I do, a 20-year-old, and my head got put through a concrete fence by some bouncers. And after that, I wasn't allowed to play contact sports. Yeah. So I played touch footy for 10 years, which is like, oh, mate, hard work.
Doesn't have the same physicality.
Yeah. So for ages, I was looking for something that had contact, but
wasn't such a big impact.
Yeah, wasn't going to send me unconscious really easily, or wasn't going to give me brain damage or something like that. Yeah. So. I think jiu-jitsu really fills that void really well for a lot of people, and especially for people that are older that that might have done MMA or karate or something like that, and they're no longer getting hit in the head or something, or boxing.
I just I think it's such a intricate game, like chess. You know what I mean? It makes your mind super sharp. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you're learning something. It's really good. Like rather than now, I'm really get excited about learning stuff. Like rather than going to the gym, you know, we all go. Some of us go to the gym, some of us don't. But going to the gym and pumping iron and getting fit. Now you come to jiu-jitsu, you get fit, but you also learn this skill.
Yeah, it's a journey of skill acquisition.
Yeah, but also a journey in life as well. 100%. You know, you learn, obviously, when you're on the mats, you know, a lot of this other stuff stripped away. You just rolling with your mates.
There's a camaraderie as well that's like really nice gathering affair, which is super good. We miss that a bit in society when we're working, you know what I mean? Like, and then you come here, you have that time where you exercise. We also have a chat with someone, talk, you know what I mean? Have a laugh. It's very...
learning a skill as well.
Learning a skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of facets that make it super kind of like addictive and interesting for people. And man, like I say this maybe probably twice an episode, but like it's just a condensed, compacted version of life. The ups and downs, the trials and tribulations, the setbacks, the victories, the ups, all the turmoil, the chaotic thing that it is, man. It's just like life, man. It's just a more controlled, compact scenario of life. And yeah, you're right. It's way more interesting than lifting weights, you know what I mean, or fighting for that 1% less body fat or whatever. Like it's a completely different journey, man. It's a skill-based pursuit, man.
It's just learning. You know, when you get older, I think acquiring knowledge about whatever it is you know, in life is such a
fulfilling pursuit. Yeah.
Yes, you just go, oh, you know, it's a beautiful thing to be able. Knowledge is power. You know, not that I'm looking for more power, but just knowledge is really beautiful. If like I told you the other day when I was sitting on the toilet, rather than sitting on the toilet and play some kind of game on my
your phone,
learn a language or something. I'm going to do Portuguese next year. Yeah.
Cool.
I think like this is the kind of saying that a lot of people say. It's like through the mastery of one thing, you learn how to master all things. And I think like as you deepen your kind of understanding and as you deepen your appreciation for like jiu-jitsu and martial arts, you start to deepen your understanding and appreciation for all other things as well. You know what I mean? Like the way you can enjoy a rugby match and the way you can enjoy like certain, you know, the qualities of food and meat and things like that. You just increase the richness of your life because you're learning about appreciation as well. Yeah. You're starting to appreciate things for how they are and the beauty of what they are, as opposed to, well, I like it like this. And like, man, this is a lot of the attitude that exists now. And man, I think you would change a lot of problems in the world if people just got beat up every day and actually experienced something difficult. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's an extremely powerful kind of pursuit to be involved with. You know what I mean? So
Bruce, you know, like do you have any parallels that you can make, like, you know, just like Kent was saying, like this is a mini version of life, you know, where you fall, you have to stand up, you do it again, you know, like we can't just stop it.
For my work? Or
do you have parallels with work, with business and jiu-jitsu that you think they're
What do you do for work for people that don't know?
I'm a builder.
Yeah.
I have a company. Actually, we're in the same street as Ed, Olgara.
That's convenient.
Very convenient. It's convenient. I'll tell you, I'll explain a little bit later, but it's convenient because my wife doesn't know I train jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
4 times a week, whatever.
All right, we won't release that part.
Yeah. Oh, this is okay. She won't read it. Well, she might, actually. But I tell her I come on Tuesday nights. Yeah. And sometimes I come on Saturday. Yeah. So that's it for her. Yeah. But she hasn't clued up because she washes all these gis and no gis. But anyway, she's... Maybe she does know, I'm not sure. But parallels with work. Okay, work is my work. You know, I'm a builder, so we have like 45 full-time staff. So it's a fairly big business. Yeah. It's fairly stressful. We build mainly high-end homes and stuff like that. So it is stressful. But what I enjoy with jiu-jitsu is able to give me is a release of stress. It's not heaps of parallels. I use it differently. I come down here, have a roll, and once I leave here and go home, I just go, you know, on a Tuesday night, I just feel a lot better. Although I'm tired, it just releases a lot of stress. You know, stress builds up and it kills people. Yeah, stress is bad. It does. So I think getting rid of the stress and jiu-jitsu really helps me. Not that I go too silly or anything, but it's just a release. You don't have to think about anything but getting choked out or something like that. You know what I mean?
You cannot think about anything else when you have someone try to choke you out. You have to be fully focused.
You have to be fully involved in the activity.
Or next move.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very therapeutic, like cooking. A lot of people say that's the same.
Because I used to be fairly aggressive.
Yeah. Most guys are, man. Do die. That's how we learn to express stuff, man, through aggression.
Yeah, but jiu-jitsu takes the aggression away, I think.
Yes.
I think it teaches you how to channel it productively. I don't think you ever really lose your aggression or your like this desire to be active and do things. And I think like you mellow out as you get older as well. But like, I think it just, because man, I would say that I'm a fairly intense, extreme person, you know what I mean? But I feel like, I don't think I'm glad
you don't drink.
Yeah, man, that's why I don't drink.
Some guys have said, mate, I'm glad that guy doesn't drink. I went, yeah, I know.
Man, anyway, like moving through that, like I'm a fairly intense, extreme person, and I'm very disciplined and all that type of thing. But like, if I did, man, even if I didn't drink, if I didn't have anything productive to channel all that energy into, man, I would get in trouble. I would do stupid stuff. I would get arrested. I would have these problems, man. But what it does is it gives you an outlet of where you can be masculine, and it's not wrong to be masculine, where you can go and do the things that in a productive manner. Like I'm gonna train every day, twice a day, and work for a goal to be a world champion in jiu-jitsu or whatever. Whereas like I think a lot of people are kind of like forced into situations in their life where they're kind of like criticized for being themselves, man. And it's whether it's a masculine component or whatever, and it's like, man, like you had an awesome experience where you could be as masculine as you wanted on a property and hit things with a hammer and cut things up and do all this stuff, man. A lot of people are not, man. And you know what I mean? Right. It's such a powerful outlet, man.
But it channels, you know. So for example, there are mellow guys, super mellow. They're in jiu-jitsu, they become a bit more aware. They become a bit more, you know what I mean? Like sharpen up. So it kind of balances out and channel in a good, like Anto's saying.
But
in a
I
good
know what you're
direction.
saying too. You kind of remove your aggression a little bit. But I don't.
You get tired. But people say, man, people like when you started, like there was a back on the day in Brazil.
Yeah.
There was a very bad reputation for jiu-jitsu because there was always fights and discos.
It was just all thugs and
it was just fights. You know what I mean? Every nightclub would go. The newspaper would put, oh, it's Brazilians. Even there wasn't. Man, the funny thing, most of these fights were never jiu-jitsu guys, because jiu-jitsu guys are too tired at home, mate, sleeping, because they want to train next day. And next day was harder than the day before training. So they were not them, you know. It was just the guys that come once a week, you know what I mean?
They can choke someone out or whatever.
Let me do it here.
But there's always going to be like a bad apple kind of people that misuse like whatever skill they have. Like you can teach people all the techniques in the world, and some people are going to choose to do stupid stuff with it. Some people like, you know what I mean? You can give everybody a car, and some people are going to choose to hit somebody with it. That's the nature of the world, man. People aren't amazing. The world's pretty crazy, man. The world's pretty unflattering if you look at it from a big picture. You know what I mean? The most part, people are nice and helpful and amazing, but you know what I mean?
But in essence, would kind of bring a certain level of balance, you know, for a hyperactive kid, you know what I mean?
Maybe it brings the hyperactive down to a more mellow, and the other guys, you know,
correct,
up to the 100%. It balances it out.
It balances out, so everyone's kind of like kind of the same. In the end. Yeah. So
for sure.
It's just you feel like you need to. It's kind of not strict, but it's also there's rules and regulations of how to behave, which I think is really good for some people who are kind of hyperreactive and a bit psycho. So I think those rules keep people a little bit molded to where they should be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's not in an extreme way. It's just like tradition and things like that. Like, oh, this is how you tie your belt, bow on the mat, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I think martial arts, again, is just such a powerful pursuit, man. It's such a condensed version of life. And you're going to learn all these things and about channeling aggression and all these things like that. And it's going to, we've talked about the things you read in Hickson's book and stuff like that. And like the guy that's not confident, like you said, he brings up his confidence. And the guy that's too aggressive and overbearing or whatever, it kind of brings him down and makes him more mellow. And
it's humbling, especially if you get a little guy submitting you. It's kind of humbling.
Absolutely, 100%, man. 100%. You start to recognize that, you know what I mean? Like, it's not what you think, it's not what you believe, it's not what you want, it's what it is. And it is this, and you learn how to do this, and then you can operate in that way. And if you're humble about learning it, you start to change who you are as a person, but you also learn this amazing skill, and you have control over scenarios.
I think that's one of the reasons I became less aggressive.
Yeah.
Is because
the aggression doesn't help.
I'm waiting to see it. I'm waiting on the fence.
Mate, you're pretty still aggressive. But
I'm on a place that I've never been before, on the fence.
But I remember rolling with some guys when I was a white belt that were obviously a little bit above me but really small and they could submit me really easily. And I remember thinking, fuck me, you know, if I go out and get in a fight, and this fight, you know, because when you're out on the town in a fight when I was a younger guy, you wouldn't fight anyone bigger than you. You could always, you know, fight someone smaller than you because you more than likely going to guarantee you're going to win. Kind of thing, if there's going to be a fight. Kind of thing. But when it came to jiu-jitsu,
that didn't work anymore. So it really it changed my mindset about going, yeah, man, I'm an idiot. You know, there's people that are like basically half my size. They can beat the shit out of me, and I'm an idiot to think that I can get in a fight and not know about this stuff anymore. So I think that was a big thing as well. Big realization.
Yeah. Everyone would come across that. Everyone who trains jiu-jitsu would come here and realise that could potentially happen to them, especially if they're a young, you know, 18, 19, 20-year-old getting heaps of fights when they're out.
Yeah.
You know, that culture's obviously changed now. It used to be, and you probably get it in Brazil, but there used to be lots of fights when I was, you know.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
It wasn't crazy. If it wasn't a fight, there wasn't a party.
Yeah.
Like if it was music, it was a fight.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like what you guys are talking about is kind of like the change of dynamics in the world. I think like a lot of dudes are becoming a lot more feminine, and like that type of attitude is disappearing from dudes. So they need jiu-jitsu to kind of bring their you know, masculinity back up and to be a little more assertive.
Maybe, yeah.
And I think maybe on the other end, there's a lot of people of the opposite sex that are starting to become a lot more aggressive and angry and domineering and all that type of stuff. And I think jiu-jitsu can help them.
There's no one here like that, though, is there?
Yeah, look, there's people everywhere that struggle with those things, and whether it's dudes or women, it doesn't really matter. Like we talked about before, is by doing this, by exposing yourself to this scenario where people will beat you, it doesn't. I've never been. Of course, everybody's been submitted. It doesn't matter what level you are now. It might be difficult to submit you now, but it took 10 years plus to get to that point. But people don't want to look at that. People don't want to look at the 8 years of being submitted consistently. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? They just want to look at right now. Oh, but it's easy for you. Man, it wasn't easy for me. But maybe I have some attributes that help a little bit, or the way I think about it helps a little bit compared to other people. But man, everybody struggles through stuff, and if you work hard enough, you'll get to a position that you can enjoy that.
Which is quite funny, making a parallel. The other day we were driving, Bruce, and I try to use the time well enough. You know, when I'm close to people that actually inspire me. I think you inspire me a lot. Thanks, seriously, and I get a lot of advice from you. You know what I mean? You're very successful in your line of work. And for me, there's a lot of value information as well, and also inspiring on how you handle things. You know what I mean? Like you always a humble guy. You know, like you can interact with everyone. Like I really look up to that. So I ask you, what was your turning point where made you like just working to become a very famous? You know, what was the turning point? Remember this question I asked you in the car? So what was the turning point? Did you do a house? You suddenly start becoming like making multi-million-dollar houses. Like what was it? And you there was like you done some sports personality house or you know like that. And you said, do you remember what was your answer? I remember.
I remember the question. I can't remember what it said.
Yeah, you said to me, "Oh, look, just go to work harder, do your best. Is one day after the other." And this is so interesting because there's a lot of people that might look up to you, or even like people that started jiu-jitsu and I want to open a gym, and they look up and they just think that this is going to happen just one day to the other. You know what I mean?
I do remember that now, yeah. But also, you know, you're also inspiring, and both of you, by the way. But I think a really important thing is when you're a younger guy, really choose a direction and a path in life that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Like my dad, when he was alive, used to say, "Listen, if you choose something you really love, you'll never work a day in your life." And you guys have probably heard that, but it's true. You know, I really enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
And if I would be doing it for free. If I wasn't getting paid, I'd still be doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I really, it's really easy to do well at it because you'll work a lot.
Yeah.
And you push the boundaries to do better because you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a craft. It's a craft you chose,
so,
and it gives you great satisfaction to do it.
Yeah. So I think it's important for a lot of people in life just to understand and be honest with themselves about what it is they really want to do. You know, you come from a family that your brother's a lawyer or something, and your mum and dad might think you're a bit weird running a gym. You know? It's
right.
like you
Didn't
can get a
even
real
thought I
job
was
or something.
working. Yeah, you're right.
But it's something that you've enjoyed, and you can do well at that.
Yes.
There's people ask me some of the kind of questions, but there's little pockets of everything in the world. You know, if you really like doing that, you will become successful at it if you put your mind to it and work hard at it.
But exactly, but that doesn't necessarily. I just like it and things will happen fall on your lap, right?
No. That's
but it's easy to work hard.
It's easy to work more hours than what a normal person would work. You know, which is what a business person ended up doing, right? You work more hours than a normal 9 to 5 job.
Oh God, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone gave us a definition about running a business that I found really good. It was the most stressful and cool thing that he ever done.
Yeah,
I think it was really good.
Cool, but it does require a lot of work, heaps of work, just constantly.
I see yourself like in again, like I saw how much you work. You know, you're always coming here. You never like, okay, now you're always on the go, always hustling. You know. And I get a lot of my advice from you, opinions, and I think this is one thing that people should use more, but they don't use really well. Like, there are people that have knowledge in certain areas that you started to step in, or you wanted to step in, and people, instead of like, humbly asking for these people for some advice, especially you have friends and things like that, they're actually looking and talking to people that never done before nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like whatever that person will tell you, that's bollocks. It doesn't do it. It's pointless. It's a waste of time.
But it sounds good, and people like listening to stuff that sounds good, man.
But what advice, Bruce, would you give it to someone like there's like a young guy, you know what I mean, just starting doing things? What kind of like do what he loves to do it? But what about if you're gonna open a business? What would be your advice for them,
mate? Like exactly what you do. Talk to people who've already walked that road.
Find a mentor.
Yeah, but I've got a business partner as well. He's a couple of years younger than me. We made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
like we made shitloads of mistakes because I had $2,500 when we started in like 20 odd years ago, 22 years ago, and we were both pretty young and we probably drank too much and carried on and all that kind of stuff. Spent the weekend looking for chicks, but
as you do
when you're 24 years old, whatever. But I had $2,500. He had to go and put $2,500 on his credit card, and we both put that into a bank and said, "Okay, we're going to give this a crack. We're going to rip in and see what can happen." And that's how it started. Like we made heaps of mistakes because we didn't have a mentor. So,
do you have access to somebody that can help you?
Not really. We learned by mistakes.
You have to, but that's the normal process of life. Yeah, absolutely. Learn through experience.
But you can speed up if you have someone to give you guidance.
And
not make the same mistakes that even can take you out of business sometimes.
So exactly.
On the reality.
So what we should have done is spoken to people that could help us. My dad wasn't around, so I couldn't ask him for advice or anything like that. So I just think just getting advice from people that have walked that road before is probably a really, really helpful, and just get a mentor, like you said, someone who's is going to help you a bit. Become successful. You need to work hard, but you also need a little bit of luck.
For sure.
It doesn't.
For sure.
It doesn't.
100%.
I can say I worked hard and I deserved everything, but there's a little bit that is a bit of luck associated as well.
100%. You're always risking things, and you overreach a little bit, but that's how you get to the next step and you move forward. And it's a bit of risk and a bit of luck and a lot of hard work, and that's the formula.
That's life.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's life.
That's competitive jiu-jitsu as well.
Absolutely, man. You know what I mean? I go into competitions, you think this, you do that, you make one bad decision, you lose everything. Oh shit, go back, start again. Just keeping on that with like the mentorship. I have like a question. Like, man, as a dude that's like such a successful guy, and man, you're a father, a husband, a business owner, you're a leader in your community of stuff. Like, how do you deal with like For the most part, like you take on a lot of responsibility and a lot of stress, and you really are leading like a whole bunch of people. Like how do you take on like not really being
emotionally involved, or
no, not even emotionally involved. I mean more like appreciated for that, because I guarantee there's probably not people going like, oh man, all the time, right? It's just it's a kind of like a thankless job. So how do you kind of deal with that? Like what how do you frame things in your mind for you to be motivated to keep doing that?
I think you got to remove yourself from and not expect that. Not you know you got to not care about that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't care what people think anymore at all. I do what I think's right.
Yeah.
And if someone comes up and says, "Listen, mate, you're doing a great job," I really appreciate
that.
But
the challenge is within yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah. So you're never ever looking for praise from other people. You know, there'll be a time when I sit down when I'm retired and go, "Oh my God, how the hell did I get to here? This is amazing. I must have done really well."
Yeah.
But
you don't even think about it right now.
You don't think about that process, because there's always a future goal.
Yeah.
Like every year I sit down and I write a list of goals of this year, and I check what I did last year and see how I went. Yeah. So there's obviously short-term, long-term, and medium-term goals. Yeah. And I just tick them off and go, okay, well, I need to work on this area here. You know, so I have little goals, and it just makes life a lot easier. I think if you're constantly achieving those little bits, and what eventually happens is there's a kind of a little bit of like a snowball effect happening.
Yeah. So to build up.
Yeah, but
momentum
works in your favor. Yeah.
Because my business is no longer my business.
Yeah.
It's everyone's business who works in it.
Yeah.
You know? I don't simply make this business. It's now got a heartbeat and a soul of its own.
Yeah.
What actually makes that is the people in it.
Yeah.
You know, I might be a certain kind of person, but it no longer is reflective of me. It's reflective of the people in it. Yeah. So it kind of snowballs, and if I select the right people in the right positions, it's like having a footy rugby team. You know, you got to get the fast guy in the wing, or the big guy at the prop. If you get them in the wrong positions,
they're going to screw everything up.
You're not going to win the game.
Yeah.
So life's a little bit like that, and having a business is a little bit like that as well. So you got all these positions in your business, like different hierarchies and stuff, and you got to get the right person, the right job.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your business won't work and you'll lose.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little thing that we try and strive to do as well. You know, as you get older, you realise these things. Like I've never been to seminars or anything like that.
You just learn it through doing it.
Yeah. And what feels right, and not really caring about what too many people said, you know, that aren't important, that I don't look up to and appreciate.
Yeah.
So I think just learning for yourself is a pretty good way to go.
Yeah. Just one other thing with that, like, did you ever struggle with allowing people to do like their roles or their jobs or whatever without were you ever like worried about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that kind of anxiety or worry?
You've got to.
You just got to take a leap of faith, kind of thing.
You got to understand that you chose that person for that position because of certain qualities.
100%, yeah.
And you've got to trust your judgment every now and then. So if you don't do that, you become kind of stale and stagnant, you know?
Yeah.
So I think you got to really trust some people in positions. And I think you know, I've made mistakes. I've put people in the wrong position before, but you got to learn from those. If you don't learn mistakes, you're doing the same mistake again. So as long as you learn from those mistakes, like, you know, we're all familiar with making mistakes, but most of us are pretty good. We might make it only once or twice, but if you're making it 3 times, you're just being an idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What about with people like underperforming and stuff like that? Have you ever had any experience with that or not?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't. If people underperform, they're gone.
Yeah.
I sit down and what actually happens if someone underperforms a couple of times, I give them a warning, but if someone underperforms, I really need to sit down and understand why they're underperforming.
Yeah.
Is it something I'm doing?
Yeah.
Can I be better?
Yeah.
And understand where their headspace is at.
Yeah.
Is this the role in life? Is this the role they really want to do?
Yeah.
And I'll have a bit of a spiel and chat to them about, like, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, do something else.
Yeah, otherwise you're just making it a problem for everybody. Yeah,
Yeah, but you're wasting, most importantly of all, you're wasting your life.
Yeah.
You know, the older you get, the more you realise.
You don't have that much time.
No. Man, I probably got, I've probably got like 12, 15 good summers left where I go on the beach and, you know what I mean? Before I become too old. And
Jet skiing and in the water.
Yeah, you know, because, and it's really, that's probably the biggest stress I have.
Yeah.
And not doing stuff that I really, really wanted to do. And getting to, 65 years old or whatever and going, fuck, I should have done that and that. Yeah. That's what I'm scared of.
That's a hard balance though, man, because like
you know what I mean?
The other people on the other end are like, you know what I mean, they get to 65 or whatever and they've got nothing and they've not achieved anything and they didn't have an enjoyable life either. They didn't, man, like, because at the end of it, I mean, I've listened to a lot of people talk on podcasts in person. I've listened to a lot of people that like around my grandparents and stuff like that. And like the thing that they all talk about at the end of it, you know what I mean? They're 70, 80 years old. They're on death's doorstep. Like, what do they talk about? Man, they talk about the times where they had nothing, where they were in China, where they were in Russia, where they were migrating here or escaping this or fleeing from, a military scenario. And like, man, these are the stories. These are the adventures that they had that they're happy about. Like, man, this pursuit to being better and greater, man, these are just all memories and stories that, you know what I mean, give richness to your life. Like, I don't think you would be happier if you did just indulge and enjoy all these things and you don't have this struggle.
I agree, because the most fun I've ever had is when I've had zero money. You know, just
very true.
Just like seriously, I sleep on the street or whatever, kind of fuel for my car or selling.
The hardest thing was to drink Hollandia, like a terrible beer, man. That was very cheap. Yeah. Horrible, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I had the ache everywhere. Ugh.
See,
aside from that,
and when I was traveling overseas, I ate cornflakes for 12 months.
Backpacking.
Yeah, I ate just cornflakes because they were the cheapest thing. I actually didn't mind them. No, without milk, by the way.
Oh yeah,
just cornflakes.
Crunchy. For 12 months straight.
12 months straight.
Where'd you go travel? Where'd you go? Where was it?
Everywhere.
Cross country.
Through Europe and everything, just by myself into Northern Africa.
Oh wow, man!
And I lived with a guy in Northern Africa. With his family, I met him just in Tangier, Morocco, and I went and lived with his family in the Rift Mountains, and it was like a taxi I paid for it. He bought a chicken on the way, and we get into this mud hut in the mountains. Yeah. This is serious, man.
Yeah.
And his dad had two wives. That he had like 8 brothers, no daughters. I'm dead. I think they killed the daughters.
Yeah.
I'm serious. They had no running water, no power, no phone, no transport except for donkeys and camels.
Yeah.
And they smuggle hash into Spain.
Okay. That was their profession. Yeah.
That was their profession. They grew
hash and smuggled into
Spain. Yeah. So I was there for a while. I don't know how long, but a fair while.
You forgot.
We had the chicken for dinner.
Yeah.
Well, that explains your late flying umber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your delayed flying armbar. Yeah.
But yeah, they would just make these little egg. No, seriously, they had mounds of shit.
Yeah.
It was like this egg stuff. Like they used to it was an egg shape.
Yeah. And what they'd put it inside.
Well, they'd wrap it in heaps of Glad wrap and melt it and all that kind of stuff. And when I remember, this is probably I'll talk about it anyway. But when I was in Barcelona, just traveling around eating cornflakes, I bought some hash from the square, and it was an egg shaped.
And I was like,
I didn't think much of it until I got to Morocco, and I was living in the mountains with a dude, and I said, "Mate, why is it egg shaped?" He says, "Well, it's easier for us to swallow."
And dump it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, I get it.
No, I
get it. And you're like, oh, yuck. Oh, no, I consumed that before. Oh, my God.
Cornflakes were better.
That's right. But it's a pretty cool experience, just being lost. Like I used to, this is back when we had no phones, and I used to I really love just getting lost and that no one knows who you are. or where you are. And it's just a sense of freedom when you have no money. It was just epic. And
no responsibility, man. No responsibility.
Exactly. And traveling is, I enjoy traveling, but traveling, I met some pretty cool people traveling. And then, you know, I used to walk along the train, in the train, and just look for someone I would sit down with and just chat to, whether that's like a 70-year-old man or a hot chick or whatever. You know, you just chat with them, and you might go stay with them for a while or whatever. You know, it's just the freedom to live and also learn. You know, traveling, when you learn a lot as well.
Experiencing other people, different cultures, everything.
But the thing that you're saying about your grandparents was telling you a story, it's a similar kind of story. When you're traveling and when you're escaping, you're learning a lot of new skills and learning a lot of things about life and places, and I totally get that.
Yeah, man. It's just interesting because, you know, man, life's complex, man. And the thing is like there's a beauty and amazingness to that freedom with no responsibility, and there's a beauty and amazingness to having an uncontrollable amount of stressful responsibility. Like, there's benefits and negatives to everything. Like, I try to talk about this stuff all the time with jiu-jitsu, because people ask me, what's the best sweep? What's the best submission? What's the best? Man, like, you're misinterpreting. There isn't anything. It doesn't exist. Just like there's no best way to live, there's no best way to have a relationship. Some people have 5 wives. Some people have 1 wife. And I think what's happened particularly in Western countries now is, like, people have set their roots in the ground and they stand here and say, no, the way I live is correct and the way everyone else lives is wrong. And it's just a completely lunatic way to approach things. It's a very closed-minded, rigid, fanatical way to approach stuff. And I think it's scary, man, the way things are kind of progressing. Like, the people are getting more and more in that direction. And it's sad to see, man. It's sad to see that, like, expression and the beauty of life is limited because of the way you have to live. Because if you don't live like that, you're a bad person.
That's why it's so good to travel. Because you open your mind and you look at this guy. Oh man, the Aussies put avocado on the pizza. Jesus,
that's disgusting.
And then you try, and then you go, man, that works. It actually doesn't seem not too bad. You know, man, like all that kind of things.
If you did the pineapple with avocado in Italy, man, that would beat you up.
I don't do the avocado. I've tried that.
I remember I nearly had a fight when I arrived in Sydney. I went to this Italian guy after night, a bit drunk as well. I said, mate, he gave me the pizza I purchased. I said, mate, have some tomato sauce. Like, what for? So, mate, because in Brazil, where you put it. I said, man, because I want tomato sauce, man. The guy, I'm not. I was like,
you almost got in a punch up over some tomato sauce.
I know.
As a kid, when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to use, if Dad cooked a steak.
Can't put sauce on that.
No.
Because that's rude for the chef. That means that the meal doesn't taste nice and you're putting extra stuff on there.
Yes, I know.
Oh, you learnt it. Yeah.
No, I learned it. I learned it. I learned it. Exactly. You learn all that stuff, you know, when you travel, you know. This is the beauty about, like, getting to travel. I remember one time I was leaving. As soon as I moved there, I lived, because I want to improve my English, so I lived with an Aussie couple and a girl. And it was a 3-bedroom townhouse.
Aussie as well?
Everyone Aussie, me Brazilian. I said, man, that's the best way to learn English.
Exactly.
That's where I learned the word cattle.
Cattle. Yeah.
Oh, kettle.
Yeah, I was like, man, how are we going to learn that if you don't live with these guys? Yeah.
I thought you said cattle.
He still hasn't quite got it right.
What's the thing here? What's the name?
Cattle is like cows, and kettle is like the
kettle.
Kettle.
It's like hungry and angry.
Anyway, they pleased me one day with something. I said, guys, I'm going to make you a Brazilian barbecue. Don't worry about the Saturday. So I get these, like, man, 4 kilos of, you know, different stuff, season, put it all on the barbie, and then, boy, man, this is smoke coming out, you know. They're all like, I don't know, like, man, just started. Then we're having a little chat, have a little drink. Okay, time to eat. Each one got their own thing. We still have like 3 kilos on the bar. They just
really?
All right, now just gonna have drinks. I was like, learn a lesson, you know what I mean? Like, it's a different way, man.
They're not gonna stay and eat.
But which one is right? Which one? No, there's no right. There's no wrong, man. This is how they're rolling. So I'm gonna roll with them. What are you having? Cranberry juice and vodka. Cranberry juice and vodka. Let's play the game.
When in Rome, do as the Romans, man.
But I like how you said, you know, you went and lived with Aussie guys because I know people that live with.
Man, I tell people here when they come here, they live with 4 Brazilians. Say, man, why are you paying all that money? Is your dad paying all that to learn English? You go sit with this guy. Go back home, man. You know,
go back to Brazil and learn English there. It wouldn't be any different.
The dumbest thing in the world.
That's right. When I was traveling, I wanted to go learn Italian because I'd met this chick, and she was a skier, but anyway. So I spoke to some people. I said, where are there no English people? And they said, this little place in the mountains. I went, okay, I'm going there. So that's where I went and lived for like 4 months in the ski season. It was epic. There was no English people there. And
you're obligated. You have to. You have no other option.
Sink or swim, man.
Yeah.
Sink or swim.
How did you go?
Pretty good. Oh, it's pretty scary because I arrived. It was like -4. It was minus.
Wow.
And I dropped off in the middle of town. I had like 3 numbers to ring, and the first 2 rang out, and I was in like a little phone box, and I was going, this is dumb. I could die here. And the last guy said, yeah, mate, you can come and stay with me for a little bit. So, boom.
Lucky.
Yeah, it was scary. Yeah, it's scary stuff.
How was it staying with this guy?
It was good. I stayed there probably for a week and a half, and then I got my own little place. And, just had to get a job.
What'd you do for work there?
Man, I dressed up as Bart Simpson and played with kids.
Oh, wow. Good.
Yeah. No shit. And also, I worked in a restaurant as well, but the Bart Simpson... Yeah, man, I got these awesome photos.
You guys are funny. You know what this reminded me of? Look, Paulo, the first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, like when he started teaching Jiu-Jitsu in Sydney, he got invited to go to this swimming pool of balls for kids party. With the Jiu-Jitsu gear.
The ball pit.
With the Jiu-Jitsu gear going to
a really?
inside the ball pit, running around with his gear.
Yeah.
Mascot.
like to help make the kids fun, you know what I mean? In the party, birthday party.
It was pretty weird because my Italian wasn't that good, and the kids would come running up because I had a full suit on, like this big,
outfit.
Yeah, and they'd come running up to speak Italian to me, and I'd go, oh, crikey, so I don't know what you're saying, and but after a while, I got it. So it was cool. It's just different. It's about saying when Bill Sykes said come down to jiu-jitsu. I said yes. Say there's that movie. With,
the yes man. Or whatever.
Yes man. Just saying yes to everything.
Jim Carrey. Yeah.
Makes your life better.
The more you go to these different scenarios and different experiences, the more you actually get to know yourself too.
Yeah.
Because you experience so many different situations, And,
well, you're not restricted as well.
That's like we talked about jiu-jitsu before, man, that appreciation for things. When you learn to appreciate one thing, you learn to appreciate others. You know what I'm saying? And the more you say yes to things, the more you appreciate this, and that leads to that, and that leads to that, and it just enriches your life. You know what I mean?
True.
And that's like that same idea, which is why it's kind of sad to see that, like, people are kind of like sticking their feet in the ground, and it's like, you have to be vegan, or you have to be this, or you have to be that. Like, you have to live like this, otherwise you're a bad person. And if you don't live this way, you're evil. And it's just a stupid way to exist, man. It doesn't lead to more enrichment and stuff. It just creates more division and horrible stuff, man.
Yeah, being vegan, you're really missing out, though, aren't you?
Yeah, correct. You are missing out.
Man, this guy tried to convince me.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
I'll tell you a funny story. This guy tried to convince me of being vegan, man. I have a chunk of a lamb this size, like on the bone, and I'm on the barbie. I'm eating like this. And I don't want to be rude. I'm like, oh yeah, man, that's good. And then why did I say it's good? Oh, good. And then he starts showing me pictures, and I'm doing like, okay, yeah, nice. But
corn sandwich.
I think this is the type of people it's the type of thing that you should have it. Like, this is your way of living.
Mate, I've tried vegetarian. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Man, there's beauty in all things, man. The thing is like, you can't force people to live a certain way or copy you or whatever. Like, man, you should just be happy with the way you live. You should be happy about the way you live. You don't have to convince other people. Man, that guy's happy living with 2 wives in Africa, smuggling hash into Spain, and that's his life. And he's got 8 sons, and they all do the things with him. They all smuggle hash, and he's happy as Larry.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, the crazy thing is like, man, you look at all these third world countries that are like, oh man, they're so poor. They're the happiest people on the planet, man. They're all partying every day, in Africa doing this, every that, man.
No, money, man, not necessarily.
But it's a sense of community and care and love and all this stuff. And they're not, they help, man. Man, imagine you came that time and you came into a Western country, the US, whatever, in a major city. You think someone would stop over and invite you to their house and get a chicken and stuff like that? Probably not.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The community that they have in these cultures is based off of, man, just helping each other. It's communal. It's communal. And I'm not saying it's great. There's a lot of atrocities that happen there too. There's a lot of violence in third world countries. That's also a situation. But for whatever reason, the people seem to be more open to life, engaging. Yeah. They have appreciation for
it. They got less.
They got less, and but they appreciate other things. Whereas when you're here and you have access to everything, you appreciate nothing. You appreciate nothing.
Yeah.
I deserve this. You're a bad person for that.
know, a funny
and it's
thing,
just a lot of negativity floating around.
I struggle with one thing when I arrived as well. This is true. I struggle with you know, like you have that
when you
big...
got here?
Yeah, in Sydney. I arrived in Sydney, yeah. And I had this, the first time ever I ever drink a bottle of beer, like by myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like a big bottle of beer, like just drinking on my own.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm used to drink around people, having a chat after jiu-jitsu, after soccer, just having a beer, refreshing, have a laugh, you know. And man, having that beer by myself, I was like, man, shit, what do I talk my stories? How are we interacting? You know what I mean?
I like
Really
to sit
weird.
quiet in silence.
Man, silence, yeah. Just nothing.
Your English wasn't that good, or is it because...
No, people just went
No,
talking,
because I just, man, my English wasn't good. No one talking, you know what I mean? Like,
couldn't start it up, the
it's
conversation.
fair. I better be quiet for a while.
No, I'm just going to do what everyone else is doing. All right.
Mate,
That was actually a funny story, man. My flatmate, well, I arrived and there was this Centenary Park heavy party, right?
Rave party.
Oh, rave party, yeah.
So this is it. I arrived.
Yeah.
The guy said, you want water? I said, fuck, because I done English. I said, what? Water. I want water. I said, I'm fucked. Anyway, he said, man, I'm going to a party. You want to go? I said, yeah, no worries. But this guy gets the car. I just met the guy, right? Never spoke to the guy before. Got in the car. I'm with him. He stopped one place. Man, I'm just going to go real quick. Comes back like, all right. Comes back again. Oh, man, I'm just going to see this mate. Oh, you stay in the car. All right. Comes back like a little bit like this. I just go, mate, listen. Let me tell you something. Man, I'm from Brazil, okay? I've seen it all already.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, man. Just go on with your life. Where's the party? When we're going to go to the party? Just let me know the crucial stuff. And then they got there. None of them had tickets to go to the party.
Yeah.
And we just keep walking. And they all a little bit, you know, on stuff, going around. Third time they going around, I said, guys, poor English. I said, wait a second. There was these guys between fences, the security guards. I said, guys, everyone give me $20. Give me $20. Organized. They all gave me. I gave to the guy. He opened the fence. We all in. I become an idol. They lift me.
This works in Brazil.
Oh, man,
it works everywhere.
Everywhere, exactly. But then he worked.
Really what?
It worked.
Yeah, we all in, you know.
It works everywhere, man. Yeah.
Money talks.
Money talks.
Yeah, it does.
Especially on the fence.
Yeah.
That guy's boring. That guy's bored there. He's going to make an extra couple bucks. Why not? I mean, not going to do anything crazy.
He probably worked at McDonald's.
But man, all these experiences you wouldn't have. You know what I mean? All these, like they don't know your culture. You don't know the culture. You guys have to communicate, and then you know another trick that they don't know. You know.
I also find it interesting how you guys, Brazilians and all people from other side of the world or that speak another language, have a similar sayings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. It is true.
We
there's a lot of sayings that you find in English or whatever that you can compare.
They translate directly.
Similar saying. Yeah.
Analogies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Analogies, sayings.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, there are some weird ones that Brazil has, like Lucas.
Papaya with sugar. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Papaya with sugar means it's easy. Easy, whatever.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Oh, you guys have one. There's a bear shit in the woods. I used to live with this guy. I said, man, you want a beer? It's like, there's a bear shit in the woods. And I'm like, man, what? There's not even a bear here, man. Oh, there's a monkey. I can't remember what it was.
No, it was a bear. There's a bear shit in the woods. That's
you don't
correct.
have that one.
I like one as well. You guys have like, you like it? You find it was funny? And I was funnier than a shark attack. There's some really good ones. I would love to write a book about that, man, because about all the analogies, you know, because they mean sometimes the same, but the way you're saying some are so funny, you know.
Yeah, good work. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. It's all very interesting. It's all amazing, man. These are amazing experiences for life. And man, like you said, man, people should say yes to this. Yeah. Say yes to starting jiu-jitsu. Say yes to going on your next trip. Say yes to whatever. You know what I mean? Getting married, maybe.
Have you been to Brazil? You've been to Brazil?
I've been to Brazil one time. Yeah, I went at the end of 2018.
Oh yeah,
I stayed with Mateus for a little bit. I had a massive knee injury at the end of the competition there. I had surgery and everything. And,
yeah.
I didn't really have the best experience in Brazil. You know, I think I would like to go back at some point and have a little more of a enjoyable kind of experience. I didn't really do too much. Just trained every day, twice a day. Went to the competition, got injured, went home. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Had a bit of acai here and there, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah. There's a life. There's obviously a life balance. Like all the big guys. So they don't train twice a day. Do they only train once a day? What's up,
Don't know, man.
Bruce, when you're there, Bruce, we can make it you train 3 times a week. That's okay. Or you're going to train every day. That's fine.
I'm trying to work out whether I would love to go, you know.
I've changed my approach a little bit with that type of stuff too. I think I've been a little bit extreme for the most part of my life, but got to adjust, man.
Yeah.
Got to adjust. I think I just do too much. You know,
I reckon,
pull back a little bit. Otherwise, man, I just get injured over injury after injury after injury.
And already there, like
redlining.
How'd you injure? Not a knee bar. Or just...
No. So I had a fight with a guy called Adam Wazinski in the semi-final or the 3rd place fight for the Abu Dhabi World Pro, and the guy was in like a single leg X position. For anybody that doesn't know, it's a type of leg entanglement, and I was in a certain scenario, my leg in kind of like a weird compromised position. And there's a particular movement you're not allowed to do in jiu-jitsu, which is called a reap. And I don't think that it should be illegal, unillegal. I don't really care. It's just that if you make it a rule, I'm not prepared for it. When it happens, I should get in trouble. So anyway, he did this particular maneuver, ruptured my knee immediately, tore maybe 3 or 4 ligaments, a massive catastrophic knee. Just destroyed everything pretty much. And then, and that's it. And then the referee was looking at the ceiling and goes, "Oh, what's going on?"
That was the right time. It was the right time when the referee was looking to the side.
The guy was looking up somewhere, bored. He's been there for 3 days in a row. Yeah, who knows? Yeah. This guy that's Polish actually knows a little bit of Portuguese. Starts talking to the guy in Portuguese. I'm going, "Hey man, this is illegal. This is a reap. This is a reap. You can't do that." That stops talking to me. Awards the guy the win. They walk off the mat. He calls somebody to come and get me. That's a medic. That's it. Yeah. So, look, I can't do anything to complain about. It's already happened, but there was a little bit of injustice. But can't do much, man. That's life. Happens. Yeah. Next time I'll know Portuguese. Maybe.
Mate, that's what I was thinking. If you'd said, if you'd known a little bit of Portuguese, or better than
him,
Adams,
see, you know what I mean?
He wouldn't have known that much.
He wouldn't have known that much. He probably said enough just to get by. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
this is the other thing too, is how important it is to know a little bit of language.
Yeah.
You connect so much better.
Just connect with people, and it makes it easier.
Absolutely.
I actually remember seeing that fight, actually.
Bruce, well, we're all going to do yoga now. Let's just make it clear for everyone. We're all going to have a yoga class right now. We work on our flexibility. That's our goal for 2022.
I'm not doing yoga.
No, but look, you're doing flying umbers, so you're very flexible. So, but look, jokes aside, thanks for your time. I really appreciate. Thanks for all the friendship. We're friends outside from that. Thanks for the conversations, the inspiration that you give me. Pretty sure my wife thinks the same way. You know what I mean? So we're probably we feel very privileged to have you in our life. Grateful. Thanks for all your help, man.
It applies.
Appreciate the advice.
If I wouldn't be here, what made Gara successful is you guys. If you weren't open and encouraged me to come here and just engaging, if you weren't a good bloke, a lot of these people that train here wouldn't be here. So it was a fairly small gym before you came. When you came in, it's obviously gone leaps and bounds now. But I really appreciate it. It's really opened my eyes to martial arts, because prior to this, I was karate. And that's about it for me. Mm-hmm. So it's really, I think everyone should do it and get involved a little bit earlier as well.
For sure, man. Get your kids involved.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
No, thank you so much, man. Very interesting. Thank you for all the insight and all the other, all the little things to do with business and dealing with people and leadership and stuff like that, man. Definitely people that are looking to start something, man, go and find a mentor, somebody that can help you. Yeah. Doesn't matter who it is, just somebody that's done something similar to that before and they're going to help you. But yeah, man, thank you so much. That's it. Thank you so much. Awesome episode.
Yes.